Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering the Seven Deadly Sins Season 3. Uh, so obviously this podcast will contain spoilers for said season of said show. If you'd like to avoid those spoilers, there will be a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for this series. Which will have links to every platform you can rent, purchase, or stream this series on, with price comparisons for renting and purchasing. Although I wouldn't be
That
surprised
will
if it's only
probably be
available
on.
on Netflix.
Yeah, technically, it actually is a Netflix original series.
You know what I just realized? It's
What?
it's been several months since I mentioned that our Just Watch links are like to the US version of the site.
Yeah, honestly, I found it a little bit redundant, especially since it's kind of easy to figure out when you get there, at least on the site.
Yeah. But regardless, um yeah. You'll also find a link in the description below to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of the show, as well as get access to episodes before they release, and early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books, and that podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. Also, in the description, you will find a link to Anchor.fm, which is now Spotify for podcasters, and that link will take you to a page that has links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter where you can be notified when we release new episodes. You may join us next week for fucking something, I don't know, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5.
I have the future, but I can't tell you if this is the future.
Ah, yes. But anyway, with all that being said, please get out if you'd like to avoid spoilers, because we are going to start talking about this season now.
I'm sorry, I'm just so used to and we're gonna be talking about this movie now. It's like, oh, it's not a movie.
Yeah, no, it definitely is not a movie. Okay,
Though it does have a few movies attached to it.
so I just gotta say, I kind of feel like season one was better than this.
How? It actually solved a lot of the things that you complained about in season one.
Did it?
Well, first of all, one of the major things is the sins are just so powerful they can beat anything. Well, clearly not, because um the Ten Commandments are kind of buffed.
Yeah, but then the seven deadly sins proceed to beat them.
I
And
mean, only two of them are dead right now,
yeah,
and
that's the other thing. Like this season, it felt weird that they ended off not having beaten all of the Ten Commandments.
why is that?
I don't know, it felt weird because like I don't know. It felt like a very weird random place to end. Like, oh yeah, you took down a couple of them. Now what? Like it didn't feel like the end of a season. It kind of felt like the middle. It felt
I
like
mean, I guess that's the consequences that you get when you're making adaptations out of manga that does not have seasons.
I mean like it felt like I reached the mid-season finale and not the season finale.
Though, I mean, make no mistake, the Ten Commandments are going to be the main antagonists up until the end of the season or end of the series. I mean,
Okay. Well, see, another thing too, another thing that made
kind of.
the other thing that made me feel like kind of the other thing that bugged me about like the uh the power scaling and
Hmm.
everything throughout this season was that they bring in the concept of power levels. And as a general rule in anime, power levels are only used so that like people like okay, um, power levels are very often used by villains as a kind of way to measure the protagonists, and they always underestimate them. Power levels here, power levels kind of just are bullshit all around, really.
I mean, right now they're used as, I guess, a way to like measure out how the protagonist measure out against the antagonist.
But yeah,
Though
like
I
I
mean,
don't
we're
know.
only
It's
getting
like,
to the deeper things with the mysteries of this show.
but for me, like one of the other things too is like Meliodas was already stupid powerful in like season one, and then like part way through this season, he gets like immensely more amount of power, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, we're uh, we're not gonna. He's gonna be too powerful and shit. And then on top of that, like Bond can't die, and there still hasn't even been a single good thing that could convince me that Bond would be able to like get hurt in any significant way. I mean, maybe if he told a lie, he'd just be stuck in stone, living in stone. If he told a lie in front of that one character,
Galgius, I believe.
yeah, like if he told a lie in front of him, maybe I could see that working, and but it wouldn't kill him.
No, but that would actually be worse than purgatory, which
Just
is a real
standing there
place here.
forever.
I mean, isn't that kind of what King did in season one?
Yeah, but with that, I never expected that that was actually going to work.
I mean, it could have worked if Elaine wasn't there, and now this is just a way more permanent one.
Yeah, only, it's whatever. I don't know, just between those two specifically, it didn't feel like anything was really a threat. And then, like, you get Meliodas saying, shit, what's his name? I want to say Escanor. You get Meliodas saying Escanor is even more powerful than he is, and I'm like, yeah, okay, so we've got three sins who are already just so powerful that I don't care how powerful the Ten Commandments are. It's still gonna feel like they can't beat the seven deadly sins just as a group. They might be able to beat a couple of them, but
I mean, as it stands right now, if there was an all-out brawl between the Ten Commandments and the Seven Deadly Sins are fucking dead. At the very least, Meliodas can't let out all of his power, or else he just loses control. And that's kind of what the Ten Commandments want. At the
I,
very least, the Demon King.
I mean, I can't see them stopping Bon. Like they might be just like batting him away over and over and over again, but they're never going to stop him.
But that's another thing too. Bond's not all that powerful either.
Yeah, like that's the thing I'm talking about. Like they'll be able to just like it'll kind of be a stalemate when it comes to Bond. But then like the other thing too that bothers me about this season, like it's not just
Hmm.
the other commandments that they left unresolved. There were a lot of other things they left unresolved. But one thing in particular that I'm thinking about is like Deanne's memories.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. That gets solved in a bullshit way.
Fun.
Though that, I mean, I feel like they only did what they did to just further the plot with something else.
And then also, like, there's the whole thing of like there were a lot of things in this season that just really bugged me. Like, okay, um, they tell us directly that like when that one commandment like brought all those people back to life, um, like once their regret or whatever is like no longer there, then that person's gonna die again. Except Elaine, for some reason, just doesn't because she loves Bon or whatever.
I think they are only kept alive by their strong emotions, but Elaine has strong emotions to Bond.
Yeah, that's a cop out to me.
I mean, we always knew it was going to happen. Like, it's not a surprise that Elaine is getting revived.
Yeah, no, it's not a surprise she got revived. I'm just like, oh, like this is how it's going to be. Okay, then. And then there's also another thing too. Like they they tell us Gother is a doll, and then they later tell us Gother is a demon. I'm sorry, which one is it?
Oh, that actually gets. Yeah, that's way explained. That's so much explained, I actually can't even tell you. But it is a huge spoiler.
All right. But then, like, another thing, too, like, for like half the season, it felt like the Ten Commandments had no motive. And then they're finally like, okay, we're just mad at Meliodas for betraying us. At least that's what it seemed like.
Okay, basically, they're continuing the Holy War. They're mad at Meliodas, they're mad at the angels for banishing them, and especially mad at, fuck it, everyone else for existing on the land that they once had. So they want it back.
I don't know. Like, at least for a good half of the season, I found myself asking, okay, why are they doing this? And
But most of all, it's for the Demon King. It's the will of the Demon King.
are we ever gonna like see the Demon King like fight and shit?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so another
In season
thing
4, I
too
think.
that I don't know. Jericho develops a crush on Bond. Just okay, that's a thing. This is a thing now. It didn't really annoy me per se. It was just more like, oh, okay, that this exists now. So now we've got
Yeah, nothing really comes out of it, and nothing really gets gained from it.
yeah,
It just happens.
we've got another love triangle. Yeah,
Well,
they got rid of the first one, and now we've got this one.
I mean, with this one, it's very clear that one person has. There's just no shared feelings at all.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, especially now Jericho lost his older brother, so I mean that must be harsh.
And then we've got whatever the hell is going on with Hendrickson and Dreyfus and like I don't know, like how are you alive? The show just kind of kept asking that question and it wasn't exactly made clear.
So yeah, how they actually survived is a good question, and the only thing I can amount to it is one of them was obviously saved by the demon, and the other one was saved by the demon blood within them.
Goodness. And then when like that Zaratros character showed up, okay, that one I got the impression he was like revived by like the like magic bullshit that the one like Ten Commandment did.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
But like there was that, and then there was Meliodas coming back to life, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it still feels like no one can be permanently dead in this show. It's Dragon Ball Z all over again.
Well, here's the thing. Like I just said, Jericho's brother, dead forever. And speaking of which, Dragon Ball has zero consequences for death. Meliodas, on the other hand, well, I'm only going to say the bare minimum, is cursed, and every time he dies, there are consequences. Death does hold weight to him.
Yeah. And then, oh my god. Okay, one other thing that really annoyed me was, okay, I'm not mad that Elizabeth
Hmm.
is the literal reincarnation of Liz. Like, that that made sense. My problem is how they kind of beat you over the head with that reveal. Because it's like everybody kind of already knew that that's what it was. Like it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think it's just, they really did not want you to miss that for the third season.
Yeah, it was like they
Like,
were trying to make this some big reveal, and it's like, who on earth would be surprised by this?
it it becomes like a huge ass reveal later on, but you only know the bare minimum of what's getting revealed. Honestly, I feel like the only thing this season really accomplishes is just theories for the next season. You get left with more questions than answers,
Yeah,
and I mean,
that's
honestly, it because I like it a lot because I know everything. I like it because I've already seen the rest of the season, and I know how much this season set up everything to come.
but see, my perspective here is like I think season 1 is better purely because of the way it tackles the world building, the way it slowly introduces their characters, and like it plants little seeds of things to come back later. Like they fight against like in episode 1 there's the fight against that one guy covered in red armor and shit, and Meliodas is like, no, this guy wasn't a holy knight. Holy knights are much more powerful. And it gives you an idea for later when holy knights actually show up. And they're slowly introducing like the other sins, and it's um like implanting the idea of sacred treasures before we actually see um like certain other characters with their sacred treasure.
I will admit, so the story in the next, okay, season and a half, like the ending of season 4 just tanks hard, but, um, like the story gets immensely better because the more things that it's established, the more things that it can try to do.
I still don't think like personally, I still don't think season 1 was amazing storytelling. I like if you watch our season 1 episode, I had my problems with season 1 as well. I feel like this is an okay show, and I feel like that's what I said in season 1. Like this show is okay, and I feel like it's pretty much still just okay after watching season 2. Or, sorry, this is season 3.
It's basically season 2.
Well,
Season 2 had no right to exist.
I don't know. I'm kind of getting just another thing. I'm kind of getting annoyed at the whole will they, won't they thing with King and Deanne. And honestly, the same with Meliodas and Elizabeth. It's like, yeah, we know like each pairing, they're going to end up together at some point. Just get on with it.
Oh, there's still more things that need to be established first. It definitely makes a interesting storyline.
I
Though
mean,
there are some things I must address.
go ahead.
So it's with the Gallad of Truth, and more specifically Merlin. Is that her name? Yeah. Um, because I think she said after she got cursed, literally nothing can break this.
I
When
think
she's not
she
even
said
supposed to be
specifically
cursed to
nothing
begin
that
with.
she had, like, at that time could break it. I, like, when she was
Oh, that
talking
could
about it,
make sense actually.
yeah, like,
Okay.
when she was talking about it, I didn't get the sense that, um, like, I didn't get the sense that it was impossible, just that they couldn't do it right then.
Yeah. That is one of the things I was thinking about because I knew that she was not getting stuck in stone forever because the commandment can't work on her.
Yeah. Just,
Also,
go ahead.
I always found it interesting how the Ten Commandments they don't have powers, they have curses.
Well, didn't one of them reveal a magical power in, like, the final couple episodes?
Okay, sometimes they have powers, but like they are giving curses from the demon lord or demon king.
Yeah,
So that
and
means it affects everyone, not just even themselves.
yeah, and it's something that we were discussing earlier before recording. How these don't actually line up with the Ten Commandments in Judaism. Like the seven deadly sins, as far as I'm aware, all line up. Is there one for gluttony? I believe there's one for gluttony.
Yeah, I believe so.
I want to say that's.
Are you looking it up or?
Sorry, what?
Sorry, are you looking it up?
No, I'm trying to think. Like, is Bond
Yeah,
supposed to be
no.
gluttony?
What? No, Bond is greed.
Oh, who's gluttony then?
I believe
Because
Merlin is.
Merlin. Okay, I don't understand
It
how.
it's explained that is a like gluttony for knowledge.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to remember everything, and like Escanor is pride, and like um
Obviously.
Meliodas being wrath, and King being sloth. I actually don't remember what Deanne is.
Envy.
Oh, yeah, that one makes a lot of sense. Um, But like bottom line is the seven deadly sins all line up accurately with the seven deadly sins in like Judaism and Christianity, but the 10 commandments do not. In fact, the only ones from what we were at least as far as I can tell, the only curses that line up with an actual commandment in Judaism is are thou shalt not murder and thou shalt not bear false witness, which technically isn't the same thing as lying. Like white lies aren't necessarily um, breaking that commandment
Hmm.
or lying to yourself or things like that. Like the commandment specifically refers to spreading or well, not necessarily spreading, but like telling lies about someone else.
I see. But in this one, it's basically if you lie in his presence, you fucking get turned to stone.
Yeah, I have seen some like Bible translations that literally just translated it as "thou shalt not lie," but the older text that we have suggest it's like specifically referring to lying about someone else.
And then, of course, do not murder. In fact, I think those are the only two commandments. No, wait. The faithful one and fucking don't turn your back on me.
Yeah, there's like faithful, there's like hatred, and it's like, yeah, these aren't really parts of the Ten Commandments in Judaism. It's
I
fine
don't
if they
think
want
they
to
were
do
aiming for
something different.
accuracy.
Like, I don't care. I just feel like it's worth pointing out.
Yeah. At the time of me watching, I never really considered it. Though if you asked me if it was, I'd probably say probably not.
But yeah, I don't know. I do got to talk about one thing though.
Hmm.
Well, just a couple of things. I want to say this, like my issue with Meliodas in the first season, where he kind of violates. Well, I don't honestly.
It's
There,
confusing.
it's confusing whether or not Elizabeth is consenting or not.
And it gets even more confusing in the third season.
But I will say the relationship feels a lot more awkward now because they established that like Meliodas has literally known her since she was a baby. And I'm like, ugh, yeah, now I'm even less comfortable with it. Like I was just starting to get comfortable with their relationship and now you've made me less comfortable.
Hmm. I know I probably shouldn't be saying this, but um the reason why um Meliodas even had the baby to begin with was because from the moment he knew who she was.
I don't know, it just kind of feels weird. It's not the worst thing, but
Oh no, I absolutely felt that the first time I saw the season.
sorry, what?
I I absolutely felt what you're feeling right now when I first watched it.
Yeah. And then like this season also introduces a character who's like magical power, like just using that power is kind of a violation of consent.
And we never see them again,
I mean,
or at least in any meaningful way.
okay, like it
Yay!
would be one thing if it was actually like Attract from Pokemon, where all it does is prevent uh, the characters from doing something. But when it's actively making them do things that they wouldn't otherwise do, I have a problem with it.
Well, let's see. It is they can't attack, and they will start actively defending from outside. Ooh, that should be a Pokemon move,
Yeah, see,
like in Double Team.
that's my issue is that it makes them actively start defending, and I'm unclear whether that other character is under her influence or if he's just smitten just because.
I think by her reactions, and by how the other kid is clearly nearby her and not under any sort of effect. She clearly does not want this, which I find kind of funny. How her entire thing is love, which, first of all, I don't even think she get any meaningful romance
No,
because of her
that's
magical.
not love. It's that is lust.
Fair enough. Um, she can't get any meaningful romances because of her magical ability. Is, I don't know, kind of be a little bit weird. Second of all, she just has this weird stalker person for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know. Like every Oh, and then like I remember seeing her getting stabbed like through the chest at one point, and it's like later she's just alive, and I don't remember them explaining that.
I mean, technically, we do have like magical orbs that can heal someone instantly. So I just have to assume that their medical is really good,
I guess.
probably.
I don't know. Like this season felt like it had like a lot of stuff that like it leaves me questioning too much. And it had a lot of things that felt like cop outs to me.
Though, some of the things that will I say that save some of the season is that the music, again, the fighting music especially, I can listen for hours.
I will say some of the comedy was great. Like when Elizabeth comes out of like her test and I think it
Oh
was
my god, I
Meliodas
love
was like,
that.
"Hey, how'd you do?" She was like, "Oh, I completely failed."
You failed. I failed. Completely. Completely.
Yeah, like that's funny. I think there was another line I was thinking about in another episode that like really made me laugh, but yeah, I don't know. I feel
Yeah, there are
like
some elements that they decided to not solve.
yeah, I feel
Okay,
like, you
yeah, the
know,
more I think about this season, it just seems like more setting up to the actual third season, and the way that they ended it was more like, yeah, this season has been going on for too long already. We have to cut it somewhere.
yeah, see, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like just half of a much larger season that they just had to cut in half for whatever reason.
I mean, we are already getting into 24 episodes.
And believe me,
I think
I
the manga could have cut out a few things.
believe me, I'm glad it didn't really like go for longer because the longer a season is, the harder it is for us to cover it. Um,
Yeah,
like we're just about to cover Agents of Shield season 5 and like those seasons are longer than these, but I mean, after we get through season 5, every Marvel TV show is going to be like every Marvel TV show season is going to be significantly shorter. It's going to make things so much easier.
love that. Yeah, I mean, this is like one of the main reasons that we decided to cover it to begin with. Well, one that you wanted to cover it to be, you wanted to watch it, but it's just short. It's easy to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like upset to have like watched the Seven Deadly Sins so far, but like like I had said, it had been on my backlog for a while. I think if it weren't for the podcast, I think I would have gotten through season 2 and then no, sorry, season 3, whatever. However you want to look at this season. I think I would have gotten through this season and then probably just stopped. Not
I
but
will say without a doubt that, well, okay, maybe with some doubt, that the next season is my favorite.
All right. I mean, I don't know. It's not like the show is bad. It's just it is hard for me to get any serious investment into it.
Avery is about calling this show mid.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
You're about to call this show mid.
I mean, so far it is kind of mid.
I will be honest, like this is probably my favorite anime, and well, mainly because of the amazing soundtrack that I can listen to for hours. But it's also, honest, ironically, the romances. Like you would not think of someone that are me that would say, "Oh yeah, I like the romances," but I actually like them in this show.
Hmm. That's weird because
And
I'm kind of not really liking the romances in this show that much.
well, let's see. I mean, I always liked Bon and Elaine.
I feel like Bon and Elaine is probably the best example here. Um, like of what they should be doing. Like with Bon and Elaine, they establish their relationship quickly, and then that's it. That's all it takes. Like they have a relationship, and the story can carry on. We don't have to do this will they won't they because we already got past all of that. Here with like Meliodas and Elizabeth and King and Deanne, we've had 2 seasons of will they won't they, and I'm kind of annoyed.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Um, Eventually, the relationship between Meliodas and the other one, sorry, um, that will become the main story,
Hmm.
and that's why they're having so much plot development for that, while also not totally revealing it.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I
And I
don't.
have no excuse for King and Elaine.
You mean King and Deanne?
Yeah.
I feel like
I
King
mean,
and Elaine
actually,
would be
their
pretty
development
fucking
still need
weird.
to not entirely. I mean, obviously, romantically, absolutely, but they still need to have an actual better relationship as well. They're siblings. They don't act like it.
I mean, that's true, but that's mostly down to screen time. There's very little time spent on screen where it's just the two of them.
That's true. I just think that there should be more time between King and Elaine. Also, Oz, the dog. I like the dog.
Eh, I was kind of indifferent to the dog.
Yeah, it probably pisses the dog. But just imagine the amount of places that you can go. You just have to be bored.
Yeah. But okay, so I don't really have much more to say about this. I feel like I've covered everything.
Yeah, I guess so. The only things I could actually talk about this season would be getting into the next season.
Yeah, like it just feels like this season is incomplete.
Well, this show is incomplete. Um, I know I can't blame manga on everything, but I can at least blame it on that.
All right, so I'm having a tough time deciding how I want to
Hmm.
rate this.
How do you want to rate this? That's a good question.
I think I'll maybe give it a 6.8.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, yeah, I think there's no other way. Because I'll have to give this a 7.8 out of 10.
Hmm. Was there actually any water in the season at all?
I can't fucking remember.
Wait, yes, there was. It's when they went to that holy place or whatever.
Oh yeah, there was some water in the Escanor fight. Then he fucking killed it all.
Yeah. But either way, there was too much water in this
Escanor is
season.
being supported by IGN.
Yeah. But anyway, you can join us next week for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5. But until then, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.